Hey, this is Brody.
This is Jake.
And you're watching Interview Under Fire.
And we're Rivers of Nihil.
Brody and Jake, I want to welcome you back to Interview Under Fire. Welcome to Texas, obviously, and thank you so much for taking the time to sit with me today. Now, before we get going here, I know we talked about it before the interview started. Take your time, because how are you? Because I think that's an important question to ask, considering what's been happening for the last, 2 years, maybe even more than that. How are you guys? How's the tour? Welcome back to Dallas, obviously.
It's been great. The tour's been awesome. Most of the shows are sold out or near sold out. I think coming out into all of this from being at home, for basically 2 years was something that we were all wondering how it was going to be, and what kind of restrictions or new rules and all that kind of stuff we were going to run into. But really, it's been fine. It's not it's not this really heavy, terrifying sort of vibe that you might be led to expect by what you're reading online or by just watching the news and stuff. It's the energy's been good out here. People are having fun. Everyone's healthy. Everyone on the whole tour has been healthy, in great moods, and it's been awesome. Everyone's having a great time. People are obviously being safe and stuff. Nobody's not a whole lot of partying going on this tour, just because everyone wants to stay, in their own bubble and healthy. But I think it's good. What do you think, Jake?
I would say, I was a little anxious and excited, feeling a little bit of a mixture of all kinds of emotions coming out again after 18 months of not doing anything for a while. But now that we're back out here, it feels kind of never left, and back in that pocket of having fun and doing what we love to do, and kind of just agreeing with Brody on pretty much everything he said in terms of how things are coming out of this from not touring for 18 months.
Yeah, something simple like touring right now, it feels like it's so much to ask for. I always wonder about, well, not always, especially as of recent time, we just covered the metal tour of the year, obviously with Megadeth and Lamb of God. They're touring right now, but I wonder if there's that sense of fear for you guys, if someone gets COVID, you're smack dab in the middle of this tour right now. God forbid something else happens further down the road. But have you guys testing and stuff like that? Have you guys had to kind of keep an eye out for that if you guys did have to get tested throughout this entire time?
Yeah, we have tests on hand and everything that. Yeah, everyone's, everyone's taking the necessary precautions. So yeah, it's, there's an extra layer of care that's been going into some, a lot of these shows. Just a few of them have been a few of the shows have been I guess all the West Coast shows were all vaccine only kind of shows, and it's been kind of different places of the country have been different kind of rules, but it does generally seem they're trying to venues are trying to do what they can to keep a little more space in between the crowds and the bands. Most of these shows have had dividers, a little further out than they might normally be, but it seems like everybody's just kind of keeping to themselves and being smart about we've all seen the news of other tours getting canceled and stuff, so naturally I think everyone on this tour
in this moment just had they just canceled the next 2 days because
it's we all knew going into this that it was a possibility that someone could get it and it would mess the tour up and cancel the tour or whatever, but I don't know, the fellow who's TM in this tour, Mr. Nick, he just got off of 4 weeks with Deicide at pretty packed out club show tour, 4 weeks, and it went off without a hitch, and I do think that sometimes it's easy to think that everything is very, very, very bad just because you do really only see the tours that are getting canceled, but I think there are a lot of tours that are going on right now that are successful. That Megadeth tour is one of them. And this tour, we've been going for 2.5 weeks now, and it's been great. So I think everybody's aware of the present circumstances, and they're just doing everything they can to keep the tour rolling, and whatever we're doing has worked so far. So I mean,
let's get to the and you nailed it right on the dot. You're talking about touring. Let's get to the good shit. What city? I mean, you haven't played Dallas yet, so hopefully that opinion changes.
True.
What city stood out the most so far on this tour? What is like, wow, they really welcomed us back. This was really, just a nice way to come back into the swing of things. Jake is thinking right now.
I would say all the California shows were pretty intense. The Denver show in Colorado. Denver, Colorado was
like Denver
sold
they always
out.
give a good reception to all these metal bands.
It was a sold out at the Summit, and it was so awesome being back there, let alone being back there to like a sold out room. And it was so rewarding just seeing everyone out there enjoying themselves, having a good time, getting into it. That sense of fear seemed to be washed away from everyone kind of like prior to getting in. So I think that was probably the show so far.
And and shout out to Denver. Shout out to all these fans who've actually been coming out to these shows. And now, again, another topic we talked about before the interview started. This is a very popular topic. Buc-ee's, one of the most like main attractions here in Texas, really Dallas, really, in rural Texas. But describe your experience like last time you guys were at Buc-ee's. Are you planning to do that after this show, or planning to do that after the Austin show? I know you guys are from Pennsylvania. We talked about like what gas stations stand out the most, but take it from here. Like, what is your experience like just going there, and are you planning to go there?
We'll probably swing through. I mean, like it's kind of like it's like a tradition. It's a place that's like the size of like a super Walmart, and it's just full of stuff, Buc-ee's stuff. It's enormous. So it's quite the spectacle. But for me personally, being from the East Coast, I got to plug Sheetz and Wawa, specifically Sheetz, because you can get tater tots on your burritos there, and that's just something that I need in my life, and I'm just a fan. I'm a Sheetz guy, and I'll die.
Do they have kolaches and like homemade fudge or jerky or?
No, but like
Buc-ee's has that.
Buc-ee's does, but like at the same time, I feel like Buc-ee's you get kind of the option paralysis thing going on. Plus, then they have like all the merch and stuff.
That's
it's like,
true.
I just want to go in and get some delicious food. Like if I'm like,
it's pretty much a museum at that point. Once you walk in, it's like, what do I do with myself?
Yeah, they're different. They're different things. Like if you want to get to the point, go to Sheetz. I know exactly what I want and how to get it instantly. Whereas like we go to Buc-ee's, it might be a little bit longer stop because I'm gonna have to kind of sift through everything that's going on there, both visually and then get into the actual menu itself, which is enormous. But we probably will go.
So I've never been to Reading, Pennsylvania. If one were to come to visit you guys, which maybe I'm planning to do in the near future, Jake, right?
Yeah.
Where would I go? Like, what is the main attraction? What is the gas station, I guess?
I mean, you know what? Wawa and Sheetz are all over Reading. They're all over. You can't miss them. You'll be going back and forth. But I highly recommend checking out all of West Reading.
All right, I'm gonna make sure that's on my bucket list. Now, guys, today's a big day for you and Rivers of Nihil, and the work dropped today. If you don't mind displaying that on the screen for me. Now, it is out to drop today on Metal Blade Records. First off, congratulations. I begin to think, I asked Jake this, Brody, I feel like you would have another deep take, because knowing the success of Where Owls Know My Name, right? Mm-hmm. Because that album was a success through and through. It really put you guys on the map as a major contributor to the progressive death metal movement, so to speak. Was there any sort of pressure for you guys when you sat down to write again for the work, knowing that we're well into Rivers of Nihil's career at this point?
I mean, I wouldn't say that there was like any like fear or concern or anything like that, because like we're definitely like the kind of band who we want to kind of like make every album like its own thing, as its own like time in, or its own like place in the band's kind of like lifespan. Like Owls is like, that was like the best version of that sound of the band that we're going to be able to do, right? And it happened on Owls, and like
Sound World, you mentioned that.
Well, that for this album for sure. But like when we like do albums, like we're operating with the way of like the kind of the mentality of like, okay, we're going to do the best possible version of this period of the band where we're all at right now in our lives, and put it on an album. And like, of course, like with everything that's changed, over the last like 2 years, like there's pretty much no way that like we would be able to like write the same album that we wrote in 2017. So I think that like we weren't nervous about it or even trying to like one up it or anything like that. I think we were just really like more aware than we were in the past of like there being more eyes on us this time, like people kind of waiting for what was next, you know. And we knew whatever we did, we wanted it to be big, we wanted it to be different, and we didn't want it to sound like anything else. We wanted it to sound different from anything that we'd ever done and different from what's going on in the scene right now. We just wanted to kind of do our own thing this time in like a really vicious kind of way, I guess, you know. So yeah, like I don't know, like we weren't concerned with like one-upping Owls or nervous about like how people would respond to this because of how successful Owls was. We just knew that we wanted to give people something big and different that like, you know, might make people scratch their heads at first because it is so different from what we've been kind of expected to do as a band.
Yeah,
you know?
Jake mentioned that same thing. I wonder, did you have a specific sound in mind when you first started, or did it kind of just change into what it is today? Because the work, like I mentioned, like some of my favorite songs, like More, and you know, what is the track before that? I always
Void from Which No Sound
Escapes. Those two tracks, and every track stood out by itself, and I learned that more and more because after I interviewed you last time, Jake, I went back and, you know, kind of did my own research. 'Cause after what you said, every song stood out the most. But did you, when you set out to write the work, did you know that you were setting out to write the work, if you know what I mean?
No, not really. I mean, the first song that we wrote for the album was the 9th track, Episode, and like I think that song has a lot of elements that are kind of like seen throughout the work. So like I think in completing that first song, Episode, it sort of like snowballed out in different directions, you know, and kind of gave us this maybe like new avenue to explore sonically, because it's like it is a slightly slower tune for like the first half of it. It's like more of like a just big open, you know, cavernous kind of like, you know, passages, whereas before it might be like lots of blast beats and super insane fast drums. We wanted to really kind of focus on, you know, creating space this time, and like using like the space between where you might hear like a blast beat or double bass or whatever, those like kind of like cavernous areas in between those kind of things that were expected to you know come out of this band sonically. Use the space in between to like create a mood and a vibe and like just something different and weird, you know, like maybe focusing more on energy as opposed to, you know, just sheer brutality and speed, I guess.
And something I want to mention is obviously the saxophone, right? That's what really gets the goosebumps flowing. I felt like with the work this time around, again, I'm just one of thousands of fans out there, I felt like it was actually part of Rivers of Nihil's DNA as opposed to being just a feature on, you know, Where Owls Know My Name or albums before that. I don't know if you feel the same way.
No, I do, yeah. I mean, I think, you know, we had obviously worked with Zach Strauss, you know, on Owls. So like working with him again on the work, you know, we were kind of like more familiar with each other. I mean, we've been friends for a while, of course, but I think on this record, what we really wanted to focus on was kind of like getting him to respond to the music, you know, in the moment. Like we literally, he came to the studio, he laid down what you hear on the record, and like that's what is on the record.
That's
like he just kind of like listened to the whole album. We played it in the studio, and he sort of responded to it in real time on the sax. And like, you know, there was other stuff that like we had, you know, ideas beforehand for that he and I had discussed. But yeah, like we really wanted it to be more of like a in the moment sort of thing with him on this one, and have him just sort of respond to the material instead of like, you know, sending him a track, you know, with isolated guitars and a click track and whatever. We really wanted to focus on him just kind of like responding to the music in real time, and I think that's why it ended up sounding, you know, different than it did on Owls, even though it's still a saxophone. It just kind of, it's another color of the picture, really. It's another color on the palette.
And as you're talking about this list is kind of just growing in my head, like mentally, check, right? And you had that throughout the album. Now, I gotta ask, it begs the question, did I ask you this? Favorite track on this album?
Yeah, you did.
What was it?
I'm pretty sure I said either Focus or I said Episode.
Okay, what was yours?
I mean, I probably...
Is that even a fair question at this point?
I mean, like, they're all my favorite. You know, like, I spent so much time with all of them. I mean, I really like The Tower. I like the album opener a lot. I think it, like, really does it's like, I don't know, it sets the mood for the rest of the album. Like, or not necessarily sets the mood, but it's like, it kind of gets you warmed up for what you're in for, you know? It's like real kind of like solemn, mysterious kind of sounding
Kind of
song.
set the tone almost.
Yeah.
And it was that song that I mentioned, or Terrestria 4.
That's my other favorite one.
That is a thing of beauty.
The first and the last songs on the record are probably my favorite ones.
Now, can you show the album art?
Yeah.
The concept behind, who did you go to for the album art? And
yeah.
was it kind of just a collective, you guys came together and decided this is how you want it to look like? Kind of represents the sound world, I suppose?
Well, it's like, okay, so we went to a man named Dan Seagrave.
Okay.
Based out of Toronto.
I don't know if that's where he's living. He's
from Canada.
He's originally from England.
Oh, he's from England.
Yeah, but he was living in Canada.
He's living in Canada.
Yeah.
But he's done the other 4 albums that we have put out, and we sort of wanted, on this one, we kind of wanted him to take the Conscious Seed of Light album artwork and kind of take that set and setting and slightly have it recreated into this album artwork, but at the same time capture some integral elements that are kind of seen throughout the theme of the album lyrically.
Yeah, I think that if you look at our first album cover and you look at that album, the new album cover, they're laid out in a similar way. Like they have this, it could even be the same landscape, but yeah, I mean Seagrave, he's the master. I mean, we send him lyrics and a few ideas for what we're thinking, and he just basically goes, "How's this look?" And it basically looks like that. He's like, "Yeah, that's amazing."
Is it your favorite album cover?
That's my favorite for sure. It's my favorite.
And it's a thing of beauty, man. It really rounded out together just the entire sound. Really is a testament to Rivers of Nile's craft for as long as I've been listening to you guys.
Hell yeah.
Can you spill the beans on what songs we'll hear tonight?
Yeah, we're doing Clean and Focus tonight
Okay.
from the new record, and then we're playing Silent Life and Where Owls Know My Name from Owls, and then we're playing
Perfect.
Sand Baptism from Monarchy. So yeah.
All right, guys. That does about it. Now, we're going to get to that bonus round that I was talking about. This is called the lightning round. What we're going to do, I'm just going to read off this list, and you guys just pick one or the other, all right? You guys can both answer at the same time if you want.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
You ready, Cory? All right. This is so ridiculous. All right, red or blue?
Blue.
Vegan or meat?
Vegan.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Super Mario Brothers or Zelda?
Zelda.
Star Wars or Harry Potter?
Star Wars.
Okay.
Well, the original 3.
Oh, there we go. If we're going to get into that. All right.
Yeah.
Mexican food or Italian food?
Italian. That's so hard.
Damn.
Italian food for dinner, Mexican food for lunch.
Exactly.
All right. Climb a mountain or jump from a plane?
What?
Climb from a mountain or jump from a plane. If I have a parachute, jump from a plane.
Climb from a mountain, then jump from the
All right. Country or K-pop?
If it's real country, then real country. Otherwise, K-pop.
Country.
Yeah.
Halloween or Christmas?
Halloween,
I guess Halloween. Yeah.
All right. Los Angeles or New York?
New York.
All right. Have you guys been to New York yet on this?
No, it's the last show.
All right.
I've never been there.
If Hannibal Lecter offered to buy you a beer, would you accept?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Would you rather be able to speak every language in the world or be able to talk to animals?
Talk to animals.
Fuck the animals, hell yeah.
All right. There's a time machine in front of you. The destination says Woodstock 99. Do you take the trip knowing what transpires there?
Yeah, I mean, probably.
Wait, what did he say?
Would you go to Woodstock 99
Fuck yeah.
if there was a time machine in front of you, even though
Obviously there's that documentary out right now on HBO, the Woodstock
I
99.
haven't actually seen it, but I would definitely go.
We would go there and alter the events. Right?
Yeah, we would cause the space-time continuum to collapse.
That's probably the best answer I've ever had so
Yeah.
far. All right, Interview Under Fire or other publication companies?
Interview Under Fire.
Hell yeah, man. Guys, this has been an honor, man. Do you have any last words, just any shout-outs, anything you'd like to plug or mention as far as Rivers of Nihil, the work, the tour, message to the fans, whatever?
Go buy the work on Metal Blade Records. We're on tour for the next couple of weeks with the Black Dahlia Murder, so check the tour dates and come out to a show.
Fuck yeah.
And thank you, son.
Thank you.
Just one Hey guys, thanks for listening to Interview Under Fire podcast. If you guys liked what you heard, please subscribe and share our channel. And please leave a 5-star review, as that helps us tremendously. If you'd like to check out more, visit www.interviewunderfire.com or our social media channels on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And finally, we want to thank you all for the support you've been giving us. Keep it burning.